Hello students, today we are going to start with the new chapter, that is polymers. Now it is a very easy topic in class plus 2 and the name of the chapter is polymers. As you see that the word is derived from two parts. One is poly means many, mer means parts or components. So basically what are polymers? They are macromolecules. Now macromolecules are those particles which have high molecular mass. But what differentiate it from other macromolecules? But what differentiate it from other macromolecules is the fact that polymers are the high molecular mass compounds which are made up of a large number of repeating units called monomers. So when a large number of monomers they combine chemically, they lead to the formation of a bigger molecule having high molecular mass, and that is known as a polymer. I give you a very simple example. Also, the process by which these polymers are formed is known as polymerization. So let us suppose if I take ethene molecules, n molecules of ethene, if I take and I carry out the process of polymerization, what will happen? All the monomer unit, they will combine together and they form a long chain high molecular mass substance which is known as a polymer. So we can say that polymers are macromolecules, but there is a difference from macromolecules that there are repeating units. There are some other compounds which are also macromolecules, but they cannot be called polymers because they are not having the repeating units. For example, chlorophyll is a macromolecule, but it is not a polymer. But polythene, it is a macromolecule as well as a polymer. So we can say that all polymers are macromolecules, but all macromolecules are not polymers. So it is a very interesting kind of topic that we have to look out for the molecules which can be treated as monomers, and when a large number of monomers they combine by a process of polymerization, we get a bigger molecule which is known as polymer. So this is ethene is the monomer in this reaction and we are getting polyethene. So there are different type of examples related to the polymers, and there are so many varieties of molecules which can be converted into polymers. So that's why polymer becomes a very important synthetic chemicals which are of utmost importance in our day-to-day life, because we use so many polymers in our life. The example is polythene. All of you use polythene bags, and that is made from this polymer named polythene. That is why we say it is as polythene bag. Now we can study the classification of polymers. Now polymers can be classified in a number of ways, and first way is by the type of monomers present in the polymer. And if we classify polymers in this regard, the first is known as a homopolymer. Now what is a homopolymer? a polymer which is made up of only one type of monomer. If a polymer is made up of only one type of monomer, it is known as homopolymer. We have done an example, ethene. When a large number of ethene molecules, they are combining, they are forming polythene. So polythene is a homopolymer. We can have another example also. Say, let us suppose I am having this a molecule which is propene. All of you know that it is propene. So when the propene molecules, they undergo polymerization, which is a process requiring a lot of catalyst and so many reaction conditions, ultimately it will be converted to a polymer, and that is known as polypropylene, commonly known as the PP. Transparent polymer it is, and PP bags we use for packing so many things we use in our life. So propene is converted to polypropylene. What is happening in this polymer? All the monomers are of the type propene. The only thing is double bond has opened up and a long chain of polymer is formed. So that is why we say that homopolymers are the polymers which contain only one type of monomer. Second type comes copolymer. In some book it is also written as the heteropolymers. As the name suggests, what are copolymers? Which contain more than one type of monomer units. So the monomers present in these polymers are not of one type, they are of different types, and that is known as a copolymer. The most common example is nylon 6,6. So let me share a story with all of you. Regarding this nylon 6,6. Nylon was discovered by two different scientists separately in the world, and both of them, they wanted that nylon should be named after the name. But actually what happened, due to the conflict that arose, one was belonging to New York and other was belonging to London. So the IUPAC, or the chemistry authority, they decided to name the polymer as NYLON. NY for New York and LON for London. 6 stands for here. Some may say it as 66, but it should be called 6,6 because it is a copolymer with the two type of substances involved having 6 carbon atom in each. So the monomer unit in this are, one is a dicarboxylic acid, and that is known as adipic acid. You can see we are having 6 carbon atom. 1 carbon atom of the carboxylic, 1 carbon atom of the other carboxylic, and 4 carbon atom in the chain. And the second one is hexamethylene diamine. Again we are having 6 carbon atom. Now what happens, we take n number of molecules of adipic acid and n molecules of the hexamethylene diamine. You know that the carboxylic group can react with amino group by using water. So what will happen, they will polymerize to give us a long chain polymer of the type called heteropolymer, and you see that both the monomer units are repeated again and again. So when we are having 2 or more than 2 type of monomer units, the polymers obtained is known as copolymer. So depending upon the nature of monomer molecules involved in polymer process, they may be called homopolymer when they are having only one type of monomer unit, and they may be called copolymer when the nature of monomer is more than one type. That means at least two different monomer units should be present so that we can get this polymer structure. You can note this. Now, second way of classification is by the source of their origin. Now, we can get polymers, and those polymers are also present in nature. So, we can get polymers from natural sources, as well as we can make them chemically or synthesis. We can make them by synthetic methods. So, if we take these polymers from natural sources, they are called natural polymers, and if we are preparing in the laboratory or in industry, we say it as synthetic polymer. So from the source of origin, if we classify, the polymers are of three types. First is natural polymer. That means which are obtained from natural sources. So those polymers which are obtained from natural sources, they are known as natural polymer, and the most common example is cellulose, cotton fiber, wool. All these are polymeric molecules and they contain cellulose. Cellulose is found in the cotton fiber and they are obtained from the making thread, and they are the natural polymers. Now, second comes synthetic polymer. So, all those polymers which are synthesized by chemical methods, either in laboratory or in industry, depending upon how much amount we want to prepare. And if we want to commercialize, we have to prepare in the industry, and if we want to prepare for a research point of view, we will do it in the lab. So whenever we prepare a polymer like a chemical reaction or chemical process, we call it as a synthetic polymer. Now the synthetic polymer basically, let me take one example. See, we are having this monomer. It is called styrene, and if I take n molecules of styrene, I will get a polymer by the chemical method, and that polymer is known as polystyrene. Similarly, if I take vinyl chloride, these n molecules of vinyl chloride, they undergo polymerization and you will get a very common polymer known as PVC. So natural polymers are those polymers which are obtained from natural sources, and synthetic polymers are the polymers which are synthesized by chemical methods. Now we come to the third type of polymer on the basis of their source of origin, and they are known as semi-synthetic polymers. Semi-synthetic polymers. Now what are these semi-synthetic polymers? Semi-synthetic polymers are those which are obtained from natural source, but they are modified by chemical methods to improve their properties. So if we want to improve the properties of a polymer and we want to synthesize that polymer in such a way that the polymer is actually obtained from a natural source, and we do some chemical reactions so that the property of that natural polymer or natural source polymer gets improved for its application, then we say that the polymer is semi-synthetic polymer. Now, in this semi-synthetic polymer, the most common example is rubber. You know that rubber is obtained from the rubber plant. And when we obtain this polymer, we do its vulcanization, so that we get vulcanized rubber, which is having better properties than the natural rubber. So vulcanized rubber is a semi-synthetic polymer because we have modified the natural rubber to a application polymer. One more example of this type, we are having a very common polymer obtained from plant, that is cellulose, and we do the process called acetylation, and we get a polymer cellulose diacetate, which is used for making threads, films, etc. So that means if a polymer is obtained from natural source and we want to improve upon its properties, we will get a new polymer by the chemical modification, and such a polymer is known as semi-synthetic polymer. So on the basis of source of origin, polymers are of three types: natural polymers, semi-synthetic polymers, and synthetic polymers. You can note down. Now there is another way of classification of this polymer, which is based on its structure. If we classify polymers on the basis of structure, we find that they are of three types. First type is known as linear polymers. Now, as the name indicates, linear polymers are those in which monomers combine to form long chains of the polymers, and all these chains are linear. So that means, let us suppose if this is a monomer, it combines with another monomer, combines with another monomer, and they keep on combining with other monomers, so that they form a long linear chain of the polymer, and such a polymer is known as linear polymer. Actually, linear polymers are having strong forces, because all the linear polymeric chains, they can come closer and pack very close with each other, so that they come quite close to each other. Second comes, so they are strong polymers. Second comes the branched chain polymers. Now what will happen in this case? In this case, the monomeric unit combine in such a way so that apart from forming a linear chain, they are also making certain branches. So such polymers, they are known as branched chain polymers. Now when you make out these polymers, you should keep it in mind, if a polymer is linear, all the linear chain can come closer, but if it is branched, they cannot come closer. So that means the strength of branched polymer will be lesser than the linear polymers. The third point is the cross-linked polymers. Now what are these cross-linked polymers? Cross-linked polymers are those polymers which are obtained, which are formed. Now cross-linked polymers are those polymers which are having long chains of monomers, and they have developed cross links. Cross-linked polymer, the example for that is vulcanized rubber, and another example is the bakelite. Now what happens in cross-linked polymer? We are having long chain of polymers, but they have developed cross-linked in between so that their strength is increased. So these polymers are quite hard polymers. So I can say if I classify polymer based on its structure, I can have linear polymer in which the monomer units they combine to form a long chain. I can have branch polymer where there is a long chain along with some branches, and there is a cross-linked polymer which are having linear chains which are cross-linked by some bonds. Just like in vulcanized rubber, there will be sulfur bridges to make the cross links. So these kind of polymers are known as cross-linked polymers. Now there is another way of classification of these polymers, and they are classification based on in forces of attraction. Now when a polymer is formed and all the polymeric units, they will be having a close association with each other, making unique properties of the polymer. And if we classify accordingly, we are having first type which is known as elastomers. Now what are these elastomers? Elastomers are the polymers which are obtained by those kind of material which possess the property of elasticity. Elasticity. That means they can be stretched by applying force and they revert back to their original size when that force is removed. So that means if I am having a polymer like this, so they behave like spring. So I can stretch these polymers by applying a force, and when the force is over, the polymer returns to its original property. The main point is that the forces of attraction between polymer units are very weak. So that is why they can be stretched, and the most common example in this category is rubber. So they possess the property of elasticity. We call these polymers as elastomers. Now second type is fibers. Now fibers are those polymers which have strong forces of attraction. So if the polymeric units formed after polymerization process, they have strong forces of attraction. They are known as fibers. So that means they have high tensile strength. Such polymers will possess high tensile strength. So that is why the fiber polymers are used for making climbing ropes. And the example for it is nylon 66, nylon 610, nylon 6 only. So these are the polymers known as fibers. Now the third type of polymer in this category are thermoplastic polymers. Now these are the polymers which get softened on heating, and on cooling they return back to the solid form. That means if I am having a polymer, if I heat it, it will become a soft polymer so that I can convert into a variety of things. All plastics come in this category, and the most common example is PVC. Such polymers are used for making buckets, tumblers, bottles, all these kind of things. So they are very important plastic polymers in our daily life. Sometimes to improve the property or the softness of the polymer, we add certain chemicals into it which are known as plasticizers. They are the salts of organic phthalates which are added into the polymer so as to improve its elasticity or They are known as plasticizers. Now the fourth category in this type of classification is known as thermosetting polymers. Now these are a special class of polymers which when heated get softened and they can be molded into a shape and ultimately to get into that shape permanently. That means once they are after heating they are converted into a particular thing, then they cannot be melted again. So that they set permanently into a type, and such polymers, because they on heating they develop cross links between them and they set into, the most common example in this category is bakelite. Now bakelite is a polymer used for making electrical switches. So when we make the electrical switch, initially that bakelite is a soft polymer, and when it is converted into electrical good, it is heated, it is molded into a shape. Once one electrical good is formed, now it will not melt again. So that is why even if electricity spark or something kind of electrical accident happens, even then this polymer does not melt. So कहते हैं कि वो जल जाएगा लेकिन वो खराब नहीं होगा. ऐसे पॉलीमर को हम कहते हैं thermosetting polymer, and the example in this category is bakelite. Now the last way of classification of polymer is the type of process by which they are made. Classification based on mode of polymerization. I told you that polymerization is a process by virtue of which we convert monomers into polymers. So in this type we are having polymers, two types. One is called addition polymerization and other is known as condensation polymerization. Now addition polymerization क्या होती है कि अगर हम मोनोमर यूनिट्स को आपस में कंबाइन करें और वो जो मोनोमर यूनिट है सिंपली एक दूसरे में ऐड हो जाएं और एक लॉन्ग चेन बना दें, मतलब कि मॉलिक्यूल्स के जुड़ने में कोई नुकसान ना हो, कोई लॉस ना हो, कोई मॉलिक्यूलर पार्ट लॉस ना हो, ऐसे पॉलीमर को हम कहते हैं एडिशन. तो क्या कहेंगे? दे आर फॉर्म्ड बाय सिंपल एडिशन ऑफ मोनोमर्स. और नॉर्मली ये जितने भी मॉलिक्यूल्स होंगे वो अनसैचुरेटेड होंगे बेटे. अनसैचुरेटेड मॉलिक्यूल्स में क्या होता है? डबल बॉन्ड होता है या ट्रिपल बॉन्ड होता है. तो वो जब डबल बॉन्ड खुलेगा तो वो सिंगल बॉन्ड बन जाएगा. वो जो दोनों एटम जिन्होंने डबल बॉन्ड बनाया हुआ था उनके पास एक ऑप्शन बन जाएगी टू मेक मोर bonds. So that's why they are formed. And the example, you know, CH2 double bond CH2, this is ethene, and when it undergoes addition polymerization, the double bond will open up and we will get the polyethylene. So ethene is converted to polyethylene. It is also an example of, we have told, it is an example of homopolymer. Now there is a polymer called SBr rubber, styrene butadiene. So I told you that this is styrene and this is butadiene. So n molecules of this, n molecule of this, double bond will open up. What will happen? This double bond opens, it will make a single bond. Now here we are having two double bonds. Now this double bond open, this will make bond here, this will make bond toward this side. This double bond open, this will make bond this side, and this. So there will be a single bond in place of double bond, and where there was a single bond, it is converted to a double bond. So you will have a polymer, and it is a type of copolymer. So what is happening in the addition polymerization? In addition polymerization, we say that polymers are formed by simple addition of monomeric unit. Second is the condensation polymerization. What happens here? When monomers combine to form a polymer, there is a loss of small molecular part like water, ammonia, etc. So when the monomeric unit combine, they lead to the loss of certain smaller parts. We say that there is a condensation. Now what is a condensation basically? The most common example for condensation is esterification. Now what happens in esterification? There is one molecule named carboxylic acid. There is one molecule named alcohol, organic. So what they happen? They lose water. So there is a formation of a new molecule called ester. So this is the simplest example of condensation process. So whenever two molecules having certain functionality, so that when they come close and react with one another, they lead to the loss of water or ammonia like a molecule. So that is known as esterification. So this is a polymer which we use for, इसमें जो example है, one is nylon 66. That I have already told you. It is a condensation polymer. How it is formed? The condensation polymer nylon 66 is obtained by the condensation of adipic acid and hexamethyldiene. The example has been done. Now, I explain one more example. One is called glyptal. Now, what happens in glyptal? There is a polymer. It is a polymer of condensation polymer of ethylene glycol and phthalic acid. It is a polymer of ethylene glycol and phthalic acid. Now it is a polymer of ethylene glycol and phthalic acid. You see that the two OH groups are close to each other, water will be lost and this will be lost with the other. So what will happen? There will be O, C double bond O. There will be a benzene ring again. There will be C double bond O, which will be combined with the other. This will combine with the other. So this is a very common polymer of glyptal. This is another example of the condensation polymer. So let us study the difference between addition and condensation polymers. Now what are addition and condensation polymers? You know now addition. In addition polymers, what happens? They are formed by the simple addition of molecules, whereas the condensation polymers, they are formed by the loss of simple molecules. So nothing is lost during addition polymerization. So whatever molecular mass was for the monomer, n times will be the molecular mass of the polymer. But there is a loss of small molecule. So the molecular mass of the condensation polymer will be less in comparison to the total mass of the monomers which have combined. So most of the time when we do addition polymerization, they involve single monomers, but sometimes they may involve two monomers also. So most of the time they form homopolymer, but condensation polymers are always of different type and they are the copolymers. Addition polymerization occurs only in unsaturated compound because they will be containing a double bond. So they are always forming polymers on the basis of opening of the double bonds, so that the double bond is converted to a single bond, and that's why it happens only in unsaturated. But this happens, condensation polymerization happens in those molecules which are having you can say a certain functional group which are capable of undergoing condensation process. The most common examples of addition polymers are polythene, polyvinyl chloride, polystyrene, the SBR rubber, and in condensation nylon 66, nylon 610, glyptal, terylene, etc. We stop over here, and next time we will do the reaction mechanisms involving the process of polymerization. I hope you are able to understand the initial introduction of polymers. Thank you very much.